Asterisk, Episode 1 opens with one of the most unforgettable moments in the entire Avatar universe, the final counterattack of the Na'vi. Right from the first second, the scale of this recreated battle feels massive and beautifully chaotic. The skies of Pandora ignite with Ikran riders diving through explosions. While on the ground, the Thanator leads a devastating charge against the RDA forces. What this episode does incredibly well is capturing that raw, primal energy of the Na'vi, fighting not just for survival, but for their home, their identity, and Eywa herself. The aerial sequences stand out as the strongest part, blending fast-paced movement with a cinematic sense of depth. Even though this is a remake and not original footage from the movie, the spirit of the scene shines through. The tension, the heroism, the emotional weight, they're all here. It's a powerful start to the series and sets the tone perfectly for what's coming next. If you're a fan of big-scale fantasy battles, this episode hits all the right notes. Asterisk, Episode 2 plunges us into one of the most intense moments of Avatar, the Way of Water, the brutal confrontation aboard the Sea Dragon. From the first seconds, tension fills every frame as the massive ship tears through rough waters. Alarms echo, and metal corridors shake under the chaos. The Sully family pushes through the flooding vessel, every step driven by fear and urgency. The episode captures the overwhelming scale of the Sea Dragon and the pressure of its sinking interior. Rising water, collapsing steel, and Quaritch's squad closing in from all sides keep the danger constant. The emotional beats stay strong as the characters move through smoke, debris, and flashing emergency lights.
Hold on, I got you! Pull!
Even though this is a reimagined version, the spirit of the original moment remains clear. The danger,
water, it's pulling
the
me
struggle,
down.
and the emotional weight. A gripping continuation of the series, setting the stage perfectly for the iconic moment in Episode 3. Asterisk, Episode 3 brings us to one of the most iconic moments in the entire Avatar saga, Jake's daring attempt to tame the legendary Taurik. Right from the opening frames, the atmosphere shifts into something tense and mythic. The towering cliffs, the roaring winds, and the distant cries of Pandora's creatures build a sense of danger as Jake prepares for a feat no one has survived in generations. The episode captures the scale and intensity of the Taurik beautifully. Its massive wings, sharp dives, and fierce presence dominate every shot. Jake's leap toward the creature, clinging to its back as it thrashes through the sky, becomes the heart of the sequence. The struggle feels raw, desperate, and symbolic of Jake embracing his destiny. Even though this is a recreated version, the spirit of the original moment shines, the fear, the courage, and the transformation that defines Jake as Taurik Makto. A powerful and uplifting chapter in the series, setting the emotional momentum for the conflict still ahead.
Think you can
Asterisk,
stop me?
Episode 4
Look around,
delivers one of the
son.
most intense
It's already
confrontations
over.
in the Avatar universe,
while I'm
the
still
final duel
breathing.
between Jake and Colonel Quaritch. From the opening shots, the scene radiates tension as the burning forest glows behind them and Quaritch towers forward in the AMP suit. Every mechanical step shaking with fury, Jake faces him with nothing but determination, exhaustion, and the instinct to protect everything he has become. The episode captures the brutal scale of the AMP suit and the raw desperation of the fight. Sparks, shattered glass, and heavy impacts fill the air as Jake struggles against a machine built for war. Every movement feels personal, fueled by years of conflict and the weight of survival on his shoulders. Even though this recreation is stylized, the emotional core stays clear, the fear, the resolve, and the decisive moment that ends the battle with Neytiri's final shot. A fierce and gripping chapter that closes one era of conflict and prepares the ground for new challenges ahead. Asterisk, Episode 5 brings us into one of the most heartbreaking moments in Avatar, the Way of Water, the brutal hunt for the Tulkun. From the opening shots, the atmosphere grows heavy as the whaling crew moves across the calm ocean, their machinery humming with cold precision. The peaceful surface of the water contrasts sharply with the violence that is about to unfold, creating a sense of dread that lingers through every frame. The episode captures the scale and tragedy of the hunt with striking clarity. Explosive harpoons, roaring engines, and the Tulkun's desperate struggle turn the scene into a painful
Keep the pressure
spectacle.
steady on those
The
lines.
emotional impact hits
Cable
hardest when the
tension's
creature
holding.
fights to protect its
She's
family,
almost clear.
highlighting the
All right,
cruelty of
everyone
the
brace
pursuit
for the
and the
breach
imbalance
now.
between nature and human greed. Even though this recreation is stylized, the emotional essence remains, the fear, the anguish, and the loss that defines this moment in the story. A powerful and sorrowful chapter that deepens the emotional weight of the series and sets the tone for the conflict still to come. Asterisk, Episode 6 takes us back to the early chaos of Avatar, 2009, the first major Rainforest battle that shifts Jake's place among the Na'vi. From the opening moments, the jungle feels alive with danger as RDA machines rip through the trees, their engines roaring and metal limbs tearing apart the forest. Jake and Neytiri move through the thick foliage, every step charged with urgency as they try to protect the clan from a sudden assault. The episode captures the contrast between Pandora's vibrant beauty and the destruction unleashed by the invaders. Explosions send leaves and embers across the screen, AMP suits stomp through the mud, and arrows whistle through the dense air. The tension builds as Jake makes quick decisions, torn between his mission and his growing loyalty to the Na'vi. Even though this recreation is stylized, the core emotion stays intact: the shock, the conflict, and the shift that marks Jake's path toward becoming one of the people.
Stay close to me.
A tense and dynamic chapter that highlights the early turning point in the war for Pandora. Asterisk, Episode 7 brings us into one of the most frantic combat moments in Avatar 2009, the chaotic forest clash involving Jake, Neytiri, and Dr. Grace. From the opening moments, the jungle tightens with tension as enemy squads sweep through the brush, their weapons flashing and footsteps pounding against the earth. Jake and Neytiri guide Grace between the massive roots, each movement filled with urgency as they try to break free from the advancing units. The episode balances the forest's natural beauty with the sudden violence erupting around them. Sparks cut through the shadows, bullets shred leaves in rapid bursts, and the glow of bioluminescent plants flickers under the pressure of battle. The stress escalates as Jake makes fast choices, struggling between keeping Grace alive and holding the line against their attackers.
Grace, look at the forest.
Even though this recreation is stylized,
stay with me, please.
The core emotion stays intact: the fear, the resolve, and the rising connection that binds the trio. A gripping and energetic chapter that deepens the stakes leading into the larger war for Pandora. Asterisk, Episode 8 pulls us into one of the most heartbreaking scenes of the Avatar saga, the final sacrifice of Neteyam during the Way of Water conflict.
Go, move!
From the opening moment, the atmosphere grows heavy as the water churns beneath the burning wreckage, and the echoes of distant gunfire settle into the background. Neteyam rushes through the chaos, his movements sharp with determination as he tries to save his siblings from imminent danger. The episode blends emotional weight with the visual intensity of the sinking battleground. Flames reflect off the waves, debris crashes around the characters, and the rising water drags every second closer to catastrophe. The tension peaks as Neteyam makes his defining choice, torn between survival and his instinct to protect the ones he loves. Even though this recreation is stylized, the core emotion stays intact: the courage, the heartbreak, and the moment that reshapes the Sully family forever.
Don't leave me!
A powerful and devastating chapter that marks one of the most emotional turning points in the series. Asterisk, Episode 9 revisits Jake's most daring moment in Avatar 2009, the breathtaking ascent as he claims the Great Leonopteryx. From the opening moments, the cliffs rise like towering blades against the sky, and violent wind currents whip across the rocky peaks. Jake climbs with relentless focus, his movements tense and calculated as he approaches the legendary creature perched among the clouds. The episode contrasts the vast beauty of Pandora's skies with the danger surrounding Jake's climb. Dust spirals through the air, stones crumble beneath his hands, and the thunderous wing beats of the Leonopteryx shake the ledges. The pressure builds as Jake prepares for the leap that will determine his fate among the Na'vi. Even though this recreation is stylized, the core emotion stays intact: the fear, the determination, and the triumph that defines Jake's transformation. A striking and exhilarating chapter that captures one of the saga's most iconic moments.
Get ready to fight!
Asterisk, Episode 10 returns us to the pivotal
hard,
destruction
Medcaina.
sequence of Avatar 2009, the devastating siege on Home Tree that fractures the Na'vi world. From the opening moments, the forest trembles under the engines of the RDA fleet, and a storm of dust rises as machines draw into position. Jake watches in dread from above, every second tightening around the impending strike that will change the clan forever. The episode highlights the clash between the Navi's sacred home and the overwhelming force aimed at tearing it down. Explosions erupt across the branches, fire sweeps through the canopy, and the cries of the clan echo beneath falling debris. The fear intensifies as Jake struggles with the consequences of his role and the destruction unfolding before him. Even though this recreation is stylized, the core emotion stays intact: the shock, the grief, and the rage that shapes Jake's path forward. A harrowing and emotional chapter that marks the breaking point in the battle for Pandora.